When the Vinnie Vincent invasion split up, Mark Slaughter and Dana Strum said, screw this, we'll start our own band and we'll call it Slaughter, and it fucking worked. For a while anyway. Their 1990 debut album, Stick It To You, went double platinum and is considered one of the great albums of the genre. 1992's The Wildlife debuted at number 9 on the Billboard charts, but fell off as grunge was taking over the airwaves. When album number 3, Fear No Evil, dropped on May 2nd, 1995, the music-buying public had moved on and it only reached number 182 on Billboard. But does it rock or doesn't it? Patrick, Ryan, Jones, Jeremy, and I discuss that right after this.
The hair metal guru from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru. Never forget Charlie too.
Welcome to the Hair Metal Guru. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. And yes, it's another sausage fest. We need to start. Any of you guys got any good-looking girlfriends or anything that can come on this shit? Because, no offense, it's getting hard to look at all this package every single Wednesday night. Anyway, we got 5 of us here to talk about, and I hate saying this because I'm a big Slaughter fan, but an album that basically disappeared. Slaughter's 1995 album, Fear No Evil. With that, it's time to meet our roundtable members right next to me. I think like right now I'm pointing away from him, but I think when the video's out, I'll be pointing to him. It's Jones from the YouTube channel Hanging with Drummer Boy Jones. Jones, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. I always look forward to our Wednesday night conversations. It's going to be another good one.
Hey, if you want, I can get you a Steelers hat and replace that Dolphins hat is that a Dolphins hat?
It is a Dolphins hat, and I proudly say we put the smack on the Bills this weekend.
That's right.
Yeah, you guys did. Yeah, you did.
And I lost my fantasy football game because that fucking Devin Achane or whatever his name is. That running back.
I did too. I did the same thing. He went off for 45 points.
Yeah.
I was the whole time like, I'm losing. This is awesome. I'm losing. This is awesome.
All right, so welcome back to the show. Right below him, we got Jeremy, the drummer from the band Abrasion, and my brother from North Dakota. Jeremy, welcome back to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks again. Good seeing all you guys. I love this. Just like Jones said, every week it's kind of the highlight of my week. So this is going to be a good unpacking. We'll see how the chips fall.
Unpacking? Don't be unpacking anything that we don't want to see over here because Ryan has kids at his house anyway. Ryan, RBK from the band Metalcast. Welcome back to the show.
All right. Thanks, dude. Looking forward to it.
Nice Headbangers Ball shirt.
Thank you.
And if you ever want to feel my Headbangers balls, just let me know. Anyway, right above him, we got Colonel Patrick the Great. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here, and I'm really excited to talk about this record. So, and as you said earlier, it's awesome. It's our Wednesday night, and this is the fucking crew. So
it is. I love Wednesday nights. So look forward to it. So Fear No Evil comes out on CMC. They'd been on Chrysalis. They went double platinum. The follow-up, fucking The Wildlife, went to number 9. I think it sold 500,000 copies worldwide, but times were changing. By the time, 1995 is responsible for one of my favorite albums of all time, Warrant's Ultraphobic, another album that kind of disappeared. Well, we got Slaughter's Fear No Evil, so I'm dying to hear what you guys think about this album. So we are going to kind of follow. This is what we've done. Def Leppard, Adrenalize, Motley Crue, 1994, Wingers Pull. What am I missing?
Poison, Crack a Smile.
And Poison, Crack a Smile. So we are trying to get people talking and thinking about these albums that were maybe controversial or maybe just disappeared, so you can know if you need to check these albums out. So we're going to start getting into it, and we are going to start like this. We are going to start with first, where were you with Slaughter? They'd put out 2 albums before Fear No Evil, and I'm going to change things up a little. We're going to start with Patrick. We're going to go Patrick, Ryan, Jeremy, Jones. Where were you at with Slaughter before Fear No Evil?
I had I had known the hits. You know, I had Stick It To You. Actually, the first Slaughter record that I ever got was Stick It Live. And I loved Stick It Live because it was, you know, it was direct and to the point. And the live versions of those songs were badass. I always loved the beginning of the Eye to Eye live performance where he's like, you know, getting everybody into it, and he says, I want to hear all you people in the back, you know, like Mark definitely knew how to get a crowd going. So I knew Stick It Live, and then I bought Stick It To Ya, and you know, so I was into it, and I was also super into Metal Edge, and metal. They were darlings in Metal Edge. I mean, they were in every edition of it. And you know, I had gotten the Wildlife. I didn't really like the Wildlife that much. I liked, you know, about 3 or 4 songs on it. I just thought it just didn't do much for me. But that's pretty much where I was before Fear No Evil.
Okay. Okay. Ryan, what do you think about Slaughter before Fear No Evil?
I got into them. I got Stick It To Ya right when like Back to Reality was probably a brand new record. Is probably the year I got into Slaughter, and I really like the debut. Obviously, like millions of other people's do. Since the time frame was a little off, I would say that, like Patrick said, they were the darlings of Metal Edge, even in the late '90s with the ads everywhere. I mean, they were really trying to keep the Slaughter flame lit. So I think I was a little bit turned off to the latter albums, but really into Stick It To Ya and pretty into the Wildlife.
Okay. All right. Jeremy, where are you at with Slaughter?
I was in apparently Patrick's bedroom there because that poster behind you, Patrick, I literally had on my wall, brother. I was so into Slaughter that my entire room, I'm not even remotely exaggerating in this, was covered. Every single square inch was covered with Slaughter. I had the Shout color pinups. I had the Metal Edge color pinups. I had every frickin' one. So I would say that Slaughter was my favorite band, and from the time Stick It To Ya came out until Fear No Evil. But my 95, I was getting a little older, but I was still a huge fan and couldn't wait for the record. Love them, still do. But yeah, they were all over my walls, man, and ceiling.
All right. All right. Were you masturbating to Mark Slaughter's Pearly Whites or what?
I'll never tell. I'll never tell.
I always remember, you know, like a lot of rock bands would try to pull off the, ooh, we're going to look all. Mark Slaughter looked like nice guys.
Just smiling, man. Yeah.
Always smiling, looking like you were like, oh, fuck, those are probably cool guys to hang out with.
Right on.
Jones, where were you at with Slaughter?
Yeah, I'm just like you guys. I really liked the first record. I thought it was a real good record. I can remember when we bought it, we was on our way to see Motley Crue and Warrant in like 90 on the Feel Good. And we stopped in at a record store, and I'd never heard of it. And a buddy of mine goes, hey, this is that band that Vinnie Vincent, hey, it's half of Vinnie Vincent's Invasion. Let's check it out. So we got it and listened to it on the way to the show. And yeah, I thought it was a really good record. I have a hit or miss with Mark Slaughter's voice.
Okay.
I do. I have to be in the mood. The music is fantastic, but there's sometimes I can't handle his voice sometimes. That's just personal preference. But I did really like the first record. Second record had 2 or 3 good songs on it, and I didn't give this one much of a chance at all. And but we'll get there. So yeah.
All right. Well, unlike Jones, I don't have to be in the mood for Mark Slaughter's voice. Mark Slaughter's voice is kind of like sex. I'm always in the mood for it. Just kidding. Well, first I'll say this. I didn't know shit about the Vinnie Vincent Invasion. I mean, I knew of them, but I guarantee you I did not have either one of the Vinnie Vincent Invasion albums by the time Stick It To Ya came out. I was 18 in 1990. I turned 18 in October of 1990. But that album was so massive. I mean, Up All Night was all over the fucking place. You couldn't escape it. And I'll just say, I think Stick It To Ya is one of the great fucking albums of the genre. There are so many fucking Somebody's calling me. There are so many great songs on that album. I think the song Desperately is one of the greatest songs of that genre. It was never a fucking single. Burning Bridges, Mad About You, they did great ballads. Fly to the Angels was awesome. I mean, I was actually shocked when I found out that thing only went double platinum. Now, when you release a live album right after your fucking first album, I just never got that. I mean, to me, that's something you do later down the road. And it was probably record label contract shit. But then they put out The Wildlife, and like, I love the song The Wildlife. I think
Yeah.
I'm kind of with where you guys are. There's three, four really solid songs on it. But I hate to say this, but I was kind of disappointed in it. I was like, well, shit, look at how great the first album was. But you know what they say? You got fucking 10 years to write your first album, you got 2 weeks to write your second. So maybe that was part of the problem. And they probably put out Stick It Live going, oh, fuck, well, maybe this will give us a little bit more time to write some songs, hold people over while they're waiting for The Wildlife. But then you put out The Wildlife, and then you get a fucking greatest hits.
Yeah.
Mass Slaughter, again, record label contract shit. So anyway, what is kind of telling is who knows what was going on in the Slaughter camp, but we don't get Fear No Evil until 3 years after The Wildlife. So anyway, I think it seems like we all agree. Stick It To You, amazing. The Wildlife, some good points, but after Stick It To You, it was kind of a letdown. So anyway, and then me just adding that they did some things that I thought was kind of confusing, throwing out all this other shit right at the beginning of your career. Anyway, moving on. Do you remember getting the album, and what were your thoughts as you remember them back then? Because then we'll finish with how, I'm sure we all listened to it over the last couple of days. What do you think about it now? But right now, where were you at when you first got it and listened to it? Then we'll start with Jones. Jones, what did you think of it?
I don't remember. I really don't. At that time, Slaughter just was not a real priority. I remember I got it because I remember the tongue and I remember the album cover, but nothing really. I was, at the time, nothing really jumped out at me. I didn't really give it much of a go when it first come out. So.
Good, and I like the honesty. I mean, shit, yeah, fucking if maybe you didn't get it right away, and maybe you got it and just fucking put it away. Jeremy, what do you think? Do you remember getting it?
Yeah, actually, I got to give credit to my brother Brandon. He was the first one to get it. He brought it out to the lake. I was a senior in high school. We were having a bonfire, and everybody was partying. He took me over to the car, and he's like, "You got to listen to this. I'm not gonna tell you who it is. Put it on." And that first song came on, and that voice comes in, and in the Robert Plant, Led Zeppelin, and I'm like, ooh, love it. I'm like, that's got to be Mark. And sure shit, he played that first song. I was hooked. Played the second, was pretty good. Unfortunately, it didn't stay strong for me. I listened to the first three tracks, was digging it at the time, and then it got too weak for me. I hate to say it, I got it shortly thereafter. Probably only listened to it 3 or 4 times, and then I, like most of us, maybe shelved it. I just didn't have a lot of time for Fear No Evil. I thought it's got a few good tracks that I could put on, but as a general rule, I thought it was mostly filler and very little killer. So that's where I was in 95. Still a huge fan, but the album did not get my goat.
All right. Ryan, what did you think when you got Fear No Evil?
It was, I was just so obsessed with Stick It To You. I kind of like Slaughter and Bon Jovi are kind of correlated with me, where I really, really love one album, and then the rest of the albums I like songs a lot, and I don't like songs a lot. I really like Slippery When Wet. I really like Stick It To You. And after that, I kind of pick and choose. But I got it in the 90s. And then I really, like Jeremy, I shelved it. And I brought it out again for 80s Glam Metal Cast episode. And I was like, okay. And then a CMC episode. And I thought, okay. So I guess we'll get into what we think now. But yeah, that was that.
CMC, that's right. You guys did a video on what was it? Just your favorite CMC releases or what?
Yeah, it was slim pickings. And there's always something a little off, It's like either album covers suck, track listings suck, the material sucks, but generally it's album covers. I mean, they were god awful at that, and it was like they kind of fuck with people's career a little bit, I think.
Right. Okay. Patrick, do you remember getting it? What do you think?
So there was quite a lead up to it. That album was recorded in '93, and the recording for it took forever because Dana broke his arm. Tim Kelly got arrested
Yep.
for drug. He was like running drugs or something like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
then he couldn't tour, so that it really held the band up until his legal stuff ended. And all of that time, that this album was recorded for Chrysalis. And then Chrysalis dropped them because it was now 93, 94.
Yep.
And then they had to negotiate getting the album from Chrysalis that Chrysalis had just paid for. They go the CMC route that everybody went,
Yeah.
and then they put it out. So that was like the reason this took forever to come out.
Yep.
And I remember getting it because I said in another episode that my friend had a cable access show, and we had a relationship with this Mark Roper guy at CMC. And so we had gotten some promo materials for it in the mail, and then the record came out. And we both were at Tower Records to pick it up, and I remember as it was playing, going like, "Holy shit! Living Like There's No Tomorrow." The first track is fucking badass. But then I also kind of felt like, wow, this album sounds like it should have come out 2 years ago because it's still very produced, this almost the same quality level as like Wildlife.
Yeah.
It sounds very clean and very crisp, and there was no edge to it. And so I kind of was like, wow, this is good, but it sounds like 1992, 93 songs coming out in 2 years too late. Songs like Get Used to It and what's the one about Let the Good Times Rock or whatever. It was like, this is the message from 2.5, 3 years ago. And it did take some cool chances though. I mean, like the ballad on there is fucking killer. It's a little Beatle-esque, but it's all right. It took some chances, so it was kind of nice to see Slaughter doing something that they hadn't done before. So at the time in '95, I listened to it for a good 3 or 4 months before putting it on the shelf. But when the first fucking single was announced and it was Searchin', I was like, you couldn't pick a worse fucking single off that, and I do blame CMC for that. I mean, that's the song on the album that has zero like memorable parts to it at all. Just we'll be searching, searching, searching. Like, the fuck are you guys doing? Like,
I
why
dig
didn't you
that
put
too.
out Unknown Destination or any other song than that shit? So
Well, speaking of Searchin' being the first single, like I'll just state, I never heard that thing on the radio. Then
No.
again, I never heard any Warrant ultraphobic singles or anything like that either. That shit just wasn't getting played on the radio. Searching got a video. I think they picked Searching because it was the most like kind of alternative sounding. And maybe they thought, well, this might fit in versus a song like Get Used to It that was straight ahead rock and would have fit in 91. So anyway, Slaughter singles weren't getting played on the radio, but I've said this before, by the mid 90s, I was searching out anything from my favorite old bands. So obviously, I went and bought Fear No Evil right away, even though, like I said, I'd been kind of let down by the Wildlife, at least with the amount of filler that was on it. So here's what I remember. I remember listening to it once and thinking, well, Get Used to It sounds like the shit that I like. I mean, that was fucking straight up 80s rock. So I listened to it once and I'm like, well, that's a good song. I need to listen to that some more. So it was in my car. I go to a party, some college party, and you know how you get when you're drunk? Well, a guy who's kind of a friend of mine, he actually still is kind of a friend of mine, but we never hung out, but you're drinking. He's like, hey man, can I borrow that CD? I'll bring it back to you this weekend. I'm like, sure, I'll let you borrow that CD. Well, fuck, this is a guy that I barely hang out with. I never fucking got that thing back. Dan Shikori, you bastard. He might actually watch us. He told me he watches some of this shit. Anyway, so, and I remember saying, hey man, you got my Slaughter CD? This is a long time later. and I think he said he fucking lost it. Anyway, I have replaced it. But so after a couple listens, the CD fucking disappeared. And even after I replaced it, I'm sure I just put it back in the collection and was like, yeah, well, I kind of remember that song. Get used to it. So there was not a big first impression upon listening to Slaughter's Fear No Evil. So now it's fucking Wednesday, November 12th. We probably all been listening to it because we knew we were going to do this from last week. So where are you at now after revisiting it? Is it like, wow, all right? Or is it like, ah, shit, okay. Are you kind of let down by it? We're going to go in a different order. We're going to start with Ryan. We're going to go Ryan, Jeremy, Jones, Patrick. Ryan, where are you at with Fear No Evil now?
Overall, I like it. The killerness edges the low points, in my opinion. I'd probably put it like 2 or 3 in my Slaughter catalog. Maybe tied with the Wildlife, I'm not sure. But like, don't get me wrong. The low points really bug me, but not enough to completely disregard it. It's probably like 70-30. And, you know, like, as for this series, though, like, I try and treat these albums like the band members are like in the room. You know, like Mark Slaughter, Kip Winger, John Karabi, like they're in the room. They're listening to this interview. And if they wanted my like unsolicited, like Bon Jovi pizza parlor, like the old days advice, I'd give it. But I try not to be that douche that hides behind the mic and just talks shit. It's like, you know, I don't want to do that. So I try to be pretty even about this because I really do like the album. But you're right. Like There's No Tomorrow. It sends a message right away that this is a harder, kind of deeper Slaughter. Get used to it. I love it. When Mark kicks into high gear on each second part of each verse, it's very Vinnie Vincent reminiscent. What you guys talked about, Searching. Interesting single. I totally agree. The chorus lacks. I don't get it. And then you had to bring up It'll Be All Right. Nothing makes me want to change the song more than that instrument that appears both on this song as well as Danger Danger's Find Your Way Home on the Screw It album. It's the same weird little chimey instrument they have.
Like a flute almost.
I don't know what it is, but it's so Beatles. Mark even pronounces words like John Lennon. Yeah. It's not okay. Robert Plant called He Wants Breakdown and Cry back. Hard Times is a cool chugger, but it doesn't touch Y&T's Hard Times. Ooh. Divine Order is Led Zeppelin, Battle of Evermore. Yesterday's Gone, forgettable. Out of My Head, probably one of my favorite Slaughter songs. It's probably in my top 5. I love it. But I want you guys to check out the first 10 seconds of the guitar solo. It is literally note for note the guitar solo in Foolin', Def Leppard. Just check it out. You're going to freak out. It's identical. So that's how I feel about the album now. I like it. Slaughter was still on it. I was proud of him. CMC kind of fucked him, but that's where I'm at.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Jeremy, where are you at with it now?
God, that was great. Well, I got to be honest. I liked it more this time than I've ever enjoyed it. And that's the beauty of this series, like Ryan just alluded. Now, I have a different approach than Ryan. I like what he does. What I do is I approach these albums like it's the first time I've ever heard it. I try to put myself in 95. Okay, I'm putting it in for the first time. I'm listening to it for the first time. No one's told me anything about it. I have no premonition. What do you think? That's how my approach is. And then I listen to it. And doing it with this album, it was the best listen I've had. Unfortunately, the ballads still got nothing for me. You know, that first album was so chock full of good radio ballads. This one just, the closest they got was Yesterday's Gone, and that could have been a close cousin to Days Gone By, really, if you really break it down. The other two with that weird-ass instrument, Ryan, I'm glad you said it. I pointed at you when you said it. It's not only in that song, it's in another ballad in this album. And they sound like you said Beatles. I told my wife just upstairs, there are two ballads remind me of Enough's Enough. And I have nothing against Enough's Enough. I have all their albums. But if I wanted to listen to Enough's Enough, I would put on their record. Those stupid ballads with that doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I just wasn't having it. And they still haven't grown on me. Throw those out. but there's not a rocker on it that I don't like. The last two, however, the last two songs on, oh, by the way, Searchin', I dig that song. I like the fact that he doesn't use his falsetto, but I didn't know they did a single for it. And yeah, Patrick, couldn't be more true. I had no idea they put a single out and that was it. That's totally not the right vibe. But when I was listening to this today, I thought, God, the lyrics are kind of cheesy, you know. My fingers pointed your way, but I got what they were doing. But you know, I thought it was released in '95. I didn't know it was written for a '93 album. So in '93, they maybe could have pulled some of that off. In '95, it was probably viewed as cliche, probably viewed very negatively, not by me, but by the public. So I could see why that failed. But the songs were great, man. Let the Good Times Roll. I love Blas brought his cowbell back like he did on Wild Side or Wildlife, and it was kicking ass on the cowbell on a couple tunes. But the last two songs, that song that you said sounds like Def Leppard with the guitar solo, in my opinion, those last two songs very much either sound like early Def Leppard, even in the guitar tone, or some Scorpions vibes. I was getting some Scorpion vibes. So I was really digging those last two songs today. And I listened to them twice on the way home. I'm like, damn, that is some great rock and roll. But you only get 7 tracks of rock. And then the ballads, they're not good enough to hold my interest. So overall, I'd say it's my, I don't know, 3rd or 4th favorite Slaughter album, but still a good album. I still rank it as a good rock album. I wish it would have came out on Chrysalis. I think it would have had a little bit more promotion, but it sounds great, as you guys said, and I can listen to it any day of the week, whereas I didn't listen to it for years. I simply thought it was kind of a trash album, and it's pretty good. I give it a solid B+.
Oh, okay. Jones, where are we at with it now?
Like I said, 30 years. Golly, it's been 30 years, and I've not listened to it in 30 years. And this week, I've actually wore it out. I love Blas's style of playing, his little bass drum things he does, his little double bass. I've always loved his groove, and I thought on the first track that Live Like There's No Tomorrow, the drums is amazing. It's just amazing. And I really noticed that the production on this, to me, I thought was amazing. I got some subs in my truck, and the bass thumps real good, and the highs come through. You could hear the bass. Unfortunately, you could also hear Mark Slaughter's sing. I'm sorry.
Cold.
No, like I said, it's an acquired taste for me. There's songs that that first song is great. I just don't like it when he does the falsetto thing, when he goes up there super high. It hits something, and I'm just like, I can't handle it. But I give him credit for doing Searching, because I was like, well, that's interesting, but it almost sounded like he was trying too hard not to do what he normally does. He's damned if he does and damned if he don't with me, right? But no, I actually enjoyed I really did. The songs was heavy. They was good songs. There's parts of them. I'm sort of like you guys with It'll Be All Right. If you'd have took that, whatever that was, out of it, it would have been a really good song. I sort of like the flow of the song, and I'm a huge, you nailed it, Jeremy, about Enough's Enough. I'm a huge Enough's Enough guy. But that's the first thing I thought. It was like, this almost sounds like a bad Enough's Enough ripoff, which I know Enough's Enough is ripping off the Beatles. I understand that, but Out of My Head, I don't know why I had thought for some reason, I guess because I'm so far away removed, honestly thought this was the first record that Blando done. But that he only done one, right? Back to Reality.
Back to Reality.
Yeah. And I don't know why I had it in my head that he done this record. And then when I started looking, I was like, damn, it was Tim Kelly. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm like you guys. I like it better than The Wildlife myself. I think it's better than The Wildlife. I'd probably put it, what's the other, Revolution?
Revolution.
Yeah. I have not listened to that one in a while either. So for right now, I would put it probably number 2 right behind Stick It To You.
Okay. Patrick, what about you? Where are you at?
I listened to this album a lot in '95, and then, it would sporadically come out over the years. And so when we agreed to do this one, I had it on my phone, and but it's, it sits on my phone, and I just never listened to it. And I put it on. I was right back in the pocket with "Live Like There's No Tomorrow." I mean, that song just smokes. It's such a good song. And like Jeremy said earlier, when his brother played it for him at the lake or whatnot, that it's like, holy shit, like that one grabs you by the nuts, and you're just like, oh fuck, here we go. But then I couldn't help but feel like the entire time I was listening to it, I've never been a fan on any Slaughter record of the production. It's just too fucking clean and too perfectly produced. There's no edge to it. And I've always felt like Mark Slaughter's voice needs a little bit of like a edgy guitar and some real like dirty, production to really, give it some weight. Part of that, I think, is that Slaughter on those first two records, they were MTV Smile, we're the nice boys that you can bring home to mom. And so, that same style of production, I think, hampers how this album has aged. I do enjoy this record, and it's probably my favorite Slaughter record only because Stick It To You has too much filler in my book. I think there's a lot like Spend My Life. I mean, really, like that song just kind of fucking sucks. And let's call a spade a spade. Like that song's just fucking dumb.
I agree.
But that's that, oh, we can spend our life with you and come to your house and eat spaghetti on Wednesday. Like that's exactly what it is. And they're the same picture behind me. I mean, look at this smile on Bloss. It's the same thing with that production. It's just squeaky clean. And so that to me hampers it. It's still, like I said, probably my favorite Slaughter record. But it's not, I don't think it aged as well as I hoped it had.
Geez, apparently you're gonna need me to save this fucking video because I don't think anybody's spoken too highly of Fear No Evil until now. Because I was shocked at how great I thought this album was. And like we kind of talked about, like, oh, this album was maybe written for 93 but didn't come out in 95. I think you can't help but be a little bit impacted by the times when this album came out. I remember thinking, like on Get Used to It, like, oh, that's kind of cheesy. Rock and roll is here to stay, and if you don't like it, my middle finger is gonna be pointed your way. I remember thinking, well, that's kind of cheesy because you're like, well, that's what we think in the mid 90s. Is lyrics like that are cheesy because you kind of let the times impact you. But now I'm like, hey, you know what? Thanks for writing some shit that brought me back to the good fucking fun times of rock and roll. Thanks for not just completely going, dark and angry and all that shit. I appreciate that now. I've said it time and time again that I'm nostalgic now for the past. So when I find shit that reminds me of the past, I love it. Anyway, Live Like There's No Tomorrow, the opening track, fucking rocks. I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this? That Zeppelin sound, and I'm not the world's biggest Zeppelin fan, but they did it in a way that worked on that song. Get Used to It, that fucking guitar riff rocks. And I think that, could have been like a single. I think that's a great fucking song. Jeremy, I'm right with you. I love Searching. I think it's really fucking good. I get that, you're like, oh, the chorus doesn't really change, but, I liked some alternative music in the mid 90s. I hear some attempt to fit in alternatively on that song, and I was like, shit. I kind of like Mark's like lower register voice. I thought it was really good. I don't know that I think it should have been the first single, but I think it's a really good song, and the video for it was kind of cool too. It'll Be All Right, the first ballad, yes, there's a lot of Beatles influence, but I really do actually like the Beatles. I think some people just say they like the Beatles because they think they're supposed to say that. Like, I legitimately have some Beatles albums, and I really like the Beatles. So it's a solid ballad. Now, before I go on, no, not the entire album is not great. So, after It'll Be All Right, Let the Good Times Roll has a great opening riff. I think that's a great party rock song. Break Down and Cry is a bluesy ballad. I think it's kind of lame. Hard Times is okay. Now, here's where this kind of fucked me up here. Divine Order, a 1 minute instrumental. Okay, that shit happens. Fine. Then one song later, there's another fucking 2 minute instrumental called Prelude. In between, there's a song called Yesterday's Gone. Two short instrumentals like that close to each other? That just seemed kind of weird. Anyway, Yesterday Is Gone. I think it's a really cool acoustic story song. I kind of hear some Cinderella to it, like Cinderella Coming Home, maybe. It reminds me of that. Some cool lyrics that I especially appreciate now in the chorus where he talks about treat every day like yesterday is gone. I'm like, oh, that's such a good line. I thought it was a really good song. Then Out of My Head has a great riff. That's a great song. Unknown Destination has a great riff. A very cool song. And then there's like a Japanese bonus track called For Your Dreams that again is just another instrumental, but we don't need to count that. Anyway, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 songs that I think are really fucking good, not filler at all. So I was shocked at how well this thing has held up because after not listening to it for probably 30 years, damn, Slaughter's Fear No Evil is a really good fucking album.
They also they're one of the only bands at that time on CMC that got a Japanese EP release called the Hard Times EP that had that bonus track on it. And it had the other song that they recorded for the record, which was a cover of Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all right. Yeah.
Yeah, never heard that one.
It's interesting what Jones had to say about his voice because at first I totally agreed. Like it's what you said about the acquired taste. Absolutely agree. He and Tony Harnell had to really grow on me. And it's very interesting that a guy with a voice like Mark Slaughter had a huge hit with a rock song in Up All Night. Because, for instance, like I had a buddy when I first got into this album that was like not into this shit. And he was like, dude, if you're trying to get people into this music, he goes, probably don't play this band. Like that, that's how like unappealing on the ears to like a common folk this dude's voice was, you know. But I mean, I obviously love it now. But I will say, like the Vinnie Vincent albums, I prefer the Fleischman album, and I love Mark Slaughter. You know, I prefer that album to the second album, but I do like seeing the live footage of Mark doing the Fleischman material because he's pretty damn similar, really live. But yeah, definitely the acquired taste.
The
Go ahead, Patrick.
Anthony.
Okay, I'll just interject and I'll just finish that so we don't have to talk. Anyway, I get where people say it's an acquired taste, and you mentioned Tony Harnell. It's just something maybe I need to spend more time with TNT. I just never have gotten into Tony Harnell yet. But I don't know. I mean, that first album had so many hits, and again, there were many songs on it that I thought could have been hits. So I guess for me, it just kind of surprises me to hear that people don't like his voice just because that album was so massive. Anyway, go ahead, Patrick.
I was just going to say in the lead up to this record, like when they were still on Chrysalis, if there was a band that had a chance at least getting a push to where their push had just ended before this record comes out. I mean, they were on the 1993 Dick Clark Rockin' New Year's Eve. So, I mean, as much as January of 93, they were still being promoted. And I think Wildlife was still releasing singles towards the end of 92, I think, still at that point. That album had quite a few singles. And multiple versions of Days Gone By got released. You know, there was the piano version and this version and that version. So, I mean, they had quite a bit of push coming out of the Chrysalis relationship that I think at the time I also felt like they maybe still might be able to, they wouldn't gonna have a massive hit on their hands, but they might still be able to get some sort of radio play. But this thing was dead in the water when it arrived.
Yeah, and oh,
Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead, Jeremy.
yeah, I got two quick things. I think if we could take this Fear No Evil album and intertwine it with the Wildlife, like take the best of those two albums and release that as their second album, holy hell, would that have been a great sophomore album? I mean, that would have been triumphantly freaking good. Probably even rivaling close to Stick It To Ya if you could take the best of this and the best of Wildlife. However, I'll pose this question to each and every one of you, and I want an honest answer. If this were their second album, not the Wildlife, would it have done better, the same, or worse? Or would you have liked it better as the sophomore effort? Guru, where you at? If that would have been
I totally think that Fear No Evil is better than the Wildlife.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think it would have done, I mean, in 92, it was still going to struggle, but I think it would have been done a lot better than the Wildlife. Absolutely.
I agree. I think it would have done better. And you was talking about promotion, like on the second one, on the Wildlife. I remember, Chrysalis, they put out 2 or 3 home videos, and back in the day, that was my thing. I'd rather go get a VHS home video than I would the album. I love the visual aspect, and they had a great one where they made that record, The Wildlife. It was really good, and I think they had that Stick It Live. I think maybe there was one of those. But yeah, and I don't think people, I don't hate Mark Slaughter. It's just when he gets up there at that part, I'm sort of the same way with what's the guy from Steelheart? Same way.
Energetic, yeah.
Yeah, when he gets up there and he goes that, I'm like, ugh. Even Rob Halford hits it sometimes. I'm like, whoa, calm down.
Speaking of videotapes, Jones is known for going to the video store, grabbing a Slaughter home video, and then renting his favorite porn movie, The Flint Bones.
Mm-hmm.
Puddles and Gangbang. Anyway.
It pisses me off when they put the sign up that you have to look at them with both hands.
But speaking of like 92, and yeah, the Wildlife got a ton of promotion. So in 92, it was, even though album sales were dropping, record labels were still trying to figure it out. So the big albums were still getting a lot of promo right away, getting the full video and all the ads. It wasn't until 93 that I think, or the end of 92, where they were starting to go, oh, it really has changed and fucked these old bands. But the Wildlife debuted at number 9. We were all like, oh, fuck, here we go. Def Leppard's Adrenalize went to number 1, but it was in 93. You were like, oh, shit, the change is real. So
Chrysalis pumped a ton of money into Wildlife.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But shit, that would obviously much farther down the line. That would be a kind of a fun album to talk about, because I haven't listened to it in forever. So I wonder how it has aged, because, man, back in the day, I just remember thinking, after Stick It To Ya, this is the best you got. So.
And there was like 13, 14 songs on it?
Yeah.
Pretty bloated.
And, I don't know why it hits around the same time, and it might have been the same time when Firehouse's second record come out. Was it about the same time as the Wildlife?
I mean, it came out in 92. I don't know how close together, but
yeah, because I remember seeing "Reach for the Sky" and the Wildlife on MTV about at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Firehouse just got fucking lucky that their ballads kept blowing up.
Yeah,
Look Into Your Eyes was a huge hit in 92. Then even in 95 on the 3 record, I Live My Life For You was a big hit. Like, they just those ballads kept that band living in the 90s.
that'd be a fun album review too.
Yeah. So, all right. Anybody got any final thoughts on Slaughter or Fear No Evil? And I'll start, because I just saw Slaughter live. Me and Jeremy did this summer, and I thought they were great. Like I'm sure Mark Slaughter is one of the singers who is constantly asking himself, why the fuck was I trying to sing like that in the 90s. Jeremy, when I saw them, I thought they were fucking great. And Mark sounded good, and the band put on a show. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, anybody else? Anybody got any final words?
I think it's kind of sad that the trajectory after this album for Slaughter is they had the Revolution record, which was, I mean, that's just a bizarre record. And I think that was Slaughter grasping at straws to try and find something. Then they had the Back to Reality record, which was trying to be heavy.
Yep.
And they haven't done anything since. And obviously the death of Tim Kelly changed the entire dynamic of that band. But now I don't even think Bloss doesn't tour with them or play with them at all anymore either. It's the Zoltan Chaney guy that plays with Vince.
Bless Blas Elias. I love him, but Zoltan Chaney is a fucking show to himself when you see Slaughter live. And yeah, you're right. It's been what? It's 2020, 26 years since they've released an album. I mean, that's kind of shot that you haven't even put out a single or anything.
No,
I know.
Mark's got 2 solo records, I think.
Yep, Mark has a couple solo. I mean, once you think even just fucking sitting in a van going to a show, you'd maybe, hey, I got something here. I got something here. Put out anyway, Slaughter, and I'm hoping one of them sees this. All I'm saying is that we would love to hear something new from you guys, because I think you're a great fucking band. I think you're great live, and I'd be interested to hear what you'd come up with in the 2020s. So with that, it's time to we would love it if you went in the comments. Let us know what you think about Slaughter and what you think about the Fear No Evil album. Do you have thoughts? And after listening to us, are you going to go check it out now? And now it's time to say goodbye to our roundtable members. Jones from the YouTube channel, which you should all go subscribe to. It's called Hanging with Drummer Boy Jones. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, Wednesday nights I love hanging out with you guys and discussing these and reliving these records. And like I said, some of them been 30 years. And so it was awesome. One quick thing, I just thought Slaughter now is also Vince's backing band, right? Vince
Right.
So maybe you stay busy with that too, but Slaughter's actually playing a lot more now live than they have been sometime. But yeah, sorry, had a ball. It's been a great time and love you guys and can't wait to do the next one.
All right, Jeremy from the band Abrasion and my brother from North Dakota. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks again, guys. Slaughter, thank you for the great tunes. Thank you for the great memories. I, too, like Anthony, wish you guys could give us one more dose. I really do. Whether it's an album or just a couple tracks, I felt like I love Back to Reality. That's just me. But you left us with one more album in the tank, I think. So anything you could do, we'd appreciate it.
That's right. That's right. RVK, Ryan from Metalcast. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, guys. It was awesome, and I love Spend My Life.
I don't. That song kind of annoyed me, but anyway. All right. Patrick, Colonel Patrick, who does so much for the channel behind the scenes and on the scenes and on the floor and everywhere you can think of. Anyway.
He's always on it. Yeah.
That's right. Patrick, thanks for coming on.
Best day of the week, best channel on YouTube. And you know what? I love all you guys. You guys are great. And these videos would never be the same without all of you. So thank you all.
All right. Hey, like I said, head in the comments. Let us know what you think about the album. In the description, you will see the link to Hair Metal Mansion that I host every Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Time on Rock 101 KLOL. You'll find the link to Hair Metal Guru merch. Buy yourself a shirt. We have women's shirts, men's shirts, regular hoodies, zip-up hoodies. Get yourself looking all badass, kind of like Clint Eastwood and shit. You'll find the link to FNA Records, who are putting out new releases from some of our favorite 80s artists. And hey, like, subscribe, what the hell, ring the bell. Whatever you can do to support the channel. Truly, I just appreciate you being here. Until the next video comes out, my name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. Take care of yourselves. When the Vinnie Vincent invasion split up, Mark Slaughter and Dana Strom said, fuck me. That's going to go at the end. Dana Strom. Okay.
They actually did to Vinny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try that again.
Who's running this show?
Some asshole.